Okay, good morning. Welcome to Senate Finance. And if you're thinking my voice sounds weird, you can only pray that I lose it by the end of the day, maybe. Right before your bill is ready to be heard. I guess we'll take the roll first, and then I'll give some comments. Maybe this voice will stop me from making some of those comments.
Senator Canizaro, Senator Goycochea, Senator Harris, Senator Neal, Senator Wynn, Senator Severs-Gansert, Senator Titus, Chair Dondero Loop.
Here. And please mark those not here, here as they arrive. We are going to finish the 8 bills that we left on the agenda from last night, and then we'll move to adding some more bills. So don't panic if yours is not there. Don't send me 45 text messages because I don't have time to answer them. And you'll just all have to be patient as we work through this. We're going to move as fast as we can. Okay, we are all right, we're going to start with Assembly Bill 150 because I see Assemblywoman Anderson ready and with a smile on her face, and we're all about that. So please go ahead when you're ready.
Good morning, Chair Dondero Loop and members of the Senate Finance Committee. I've missed seeing all of you just about every other day or so.
That's really nice because nobody ever comes in here and says that.
Well, I was like, what are you going to say? You haven't missed seeing me? No, thank you, though. So thank you for giving me the chance to present AB 150. Before I get started, though, I do want to make 2 comments. First, go Knights go. Congratulations on that. Second, there's so many more things that I could talk about with this bill. But I realize that time is of the essence, and even though clocks do not matter to any of us anymore, I just want to get straight to the point. So I'm going to try to be as quick as possible, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have at the end. AB 150 is language coming forward. There's cleanup language from a bill that was passed by our body, by the legislature, last session. We had the opportunity, and overwhelmingly we were able to do this, where we were able to get a tuition waiver for our Native American students and members of our sovereign nation tribes that are in Nevada. There have been so many conversations over the last year and a half to try to figure out what some of the issues were after having such a large bill happen. And initially there were 4 items that I was trying to get changed. Based upon different discussions in the Assembly side, I now am bringing forward just 3 of those items. So I can go over it line by line, or I can just give you the big ideas. What would you prefer?
It's called Big Ideas, and if you go short, you get an A+. If you go long, it gets real ugly.
Okay. The really short version, it's a good bill. Vote for it. A little bit shorter version, a little bit more detailed short version. The 3 changes are, first of all, it's recognizing that some of the members and descendants of our federally recognized Native American tribes, that tribal land sometimes crosses state line. They are, in fact, they are members of that tribe that are part of it. However, the land itself is over sometimes into the Idaho border or into the California border, and this allows those individuals also to be recognized and to be granted this waiver. The second item has to do with how FAFSA, or the tuition waiver, the help at the federal government is being offered. When we initially did this, FAFSA was taken out first. Now it will be taken out after the waiver, And the main reason why is because we found that the students that qualified for FAFSA would then lose that money for other expenses that are related to the university costs and community colleges costs. The last change, is we were able to fund it. My initial language had to do with just funding it at the level that it was, which was $450,000 per year. Now it is $453,000 per year, because we were able to actually help 140 students attend universities, community colleges, and other items. And I'm so sorry, there is one other change. This is for all classes, whether it is degree seeking or not. And so with that, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the committee? Okay, seeing none, we move quick around here. All right, those in support, come forward, please. And as I said last night, be quick and be gone.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Annette Magnus, Executive Director of Battleborn Progress. We are in strong support of this bill and hope you will pass it. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Jennifer Lanahan for the record on behalf of the Las Vegas Paiute Tribe and the Reno Sparks Indian Colony, and we urge your support. Thank you.
Kent Irvin, as of June 1st, past president of the Nevada Faculty Alliance. In the policy committees, we supported deserving populations getting fee waivers and said we could be more enthusiastic with funding, so we are enthusiastic for this bill.
Michael Flores, on behalf of the University of Reno, we're enthusiastic as well. Thank you.
Alex Tanchak with Seoul State Government Relations, representing Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe, Shawnee Paiute Tribes of the Duck Valley Indian Reservation, and the Duckwater Shoshone Tribe. Also very enthusiastic to support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Flores, are you just as excited about the Rebels? All right, seeing no more, anybody in Las Vegas? We'll go to the phone lines, BPS, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in support of AB 150, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. Anybody in opposition here in Carson City, Las Vegas? And on the phone lines, please, BPS, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in opposition to AB 150, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas. On the phone lines, BPS, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in neutral for AB 150, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. Closing comments, please.
Usually I waive my closing comments, but I realized, Nathan Anderson for the record, usually I waive my closing comments, but I forgot to tell you that Nevada System of Higher Education and I have been working on this, and they are also in support.
Okay, thank you so
much.
Thank you. With that, we'll close the hearing. And we will go to, just a minute. All right, Assembly Bill 155 will be presented by Senator Nguyen. And then moving forward, I'm assuming that the Assembly will watch our agenda and be able to be here. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Rochelle Nguyen, Senate District 3, presenting Assembly Bill 155. I appreciate your indulgence. I also have been working with Assemblywoman Peters on this bill for quite some time, so it is very personal to me. So I appreciate the time in letting me present this, at least in the Finance Committee. AB 155 expands access to biomarker testing for treatment of disease. The amendments that are before you are a product of continued negotiations and compromises with stakeholders. First, we are now limiting coverage for biomarkers strictly to cancer. While biomarkers have been used to be successful in other areas and other diseases of treatment, for the purposes of this bill, we are limiting that to cancer, and we're also directing a study in the interim to look at what those potential cost savings are for other diseases in the future. And second, this language ensures that the insurance covers the appropriate biomarkers while attempting to limit potential overuse of biomarkers. The first two amendments assisted significantly in reducing the fiscal note from Medicaid and local self-funded plans. And third, this does have strong bipartisan policy and ultimately will save lives and will save money.
Senator Nguyen, we have an amendment. Would you please speak to that?
That is what I had spoke to in here, but I will just go into detail on that. Again, the first part of this is to the proposed amendments. There is the mock-up. There's two of them there. Do you see both of them?
We have AB 155 reprint 1 proposed amendments. So that may be in here. And then we have a second reprint. I have a second reprint bill in front of me, but I don't seem to see an amendment.
There are two, I believe. Are they in the second reprint? They are in the second reprint. So this.
So there's no other amendment?
No other amendments.
Okay. Got it. All right. We were trying to go through the paperwork here.
I'm looking at proposed amendment 3748. Okay. Okay. That's already in the reprint. Yes.
Okay, the other question I have is, is there any data on this? Has there been anything done on this?
Just some brief information about the policy and what biomarkers are. Biomarker testing already exists out there. What it does is it enables doctors to target and figure out exactly what it is that is causing, like for example, in the example of cancer, you're able to do this biomarker testing to find out what will be the most effective treatment. So rather than going through multiple types of one-size-fits-all treatment for a cancer, you're able to save that money, save that time, save lives, and be able to just target the type of cancer and the type of marker that you are seeking to treat.
Thank you for that clarification. Any additional questions? Senator Titus, this is your wheelhouse.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I like that it was amended. I like that we're going to try to prevent overuse of it because everybody's going to want to, if you sign up for 23andMe, you can do biomarkers on some of these studies. But this will specify what your risks are. And so I think I certainly support it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I don't want to know any more about me. Thank you. All right. With that being said.
Less is more.
Yeah, way more. All right. Thank you very much. And with that, we'll go to those in support here in Carson City.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Tom Clark. I'm here on behalf of the Nevada Society of Dermatologists and Dermatological Surgeons. That title is long enough for me to say we agree with this amended version of the bill. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Perfect. Go ahead, please.
Madam Chair, Steve Messenger with the Nevada Primary Care Association, representing the state's federally qualified health centers. We support this bill.
Thank you very much. All right. Anyone else here in Carson City? All right. We'll go to Las Vegas. Anybody in support? And we'll go to the phone lines, BPS, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in support of AB 155, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. Anybody in opposition in Carson City, in Las Vegas, on the phone lines, please.
If you're just joining us and you would like to testify in opposition to AB 155, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. All right. With that, we'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 1. Oh, unless, do you have closing remarks? I'm sorry, Senator Wynn.
I just wanted to clarify one thing. I had talked to it about it in my presentation, and now I understand what the confusion is. This one-page proposed amendment is not included in that mock-up, or in that, it's not included in the reprint.
Okay.
So this would have to be amended
Okay,
to
so
be
that's
included.
a bigger problem.
I,
Can
I
you-
s- I spoke with it about the medically necessary to limit it that Dr. Titus had talked about, as well as the cost and talking with I'll let them speak to the fiscal note because it's my understanding it has been removed for that part, but not the study part.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Amber Law, Deputy Administrator from the Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy. On behalf of Senator Wynn, I'm here to clarify that the division has reviewed this amendment and determined that there is not an anticipated need for additional funding.
What is now the fiscal note on this?
The study. Rochelle Wynn, for the record, it is the study.
So, Amber Law for the record. The appropriation to the agency is $650,000 for the study, $325,000 in general fund, $325,000 in state funds.
Is that per year? One study?
per year, thank you.
Okay, so it's a one-piece thing. Senator Neal, did you have a question? All right, thank you very much. All right, with that, we'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 155. Alrighty, with that, we'll go to Assembly Bill 158. Assemblyman O'Neill. We move real quick around here, sir. So welcome Sunday morning. While you're getting yourself settled, I failed to mention that we have a new caller ID number this morning. So if you're calling in to this meeting or you want to make public comment, 888-475-4499. And the meeting ID for today is 811-3826-5227. Press pound, and when prompted for the participant ID, please press pound. And this is also listed on the agenda if you didn't get a chance to write it down. Assemblyman O'Neill, please go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Dundara Loop, and members of the Senate Finance Committee. I am P.K. O'Neill, representing Assembly District 40. I'm here today to present to you Assembly Bill 158, a bill dealing with Nevada joining the Emergency Medical Services Compact, or EMS, which grants multi-state privileges to practice for emergency medical service personnel. The bill has already been vetted for policy. It has also gone through the Assembly Ways and Means, and now I'm here for you to answer any questions. There is a $10,000 biennial note to maintain the interface between the state and the compact itself, and I'm open to any questions, unless you want me to actually go into the bill itself, Chair.
We would like to know the fiscal note on this, please.
It's $10,000 to maintain the interface
Per year or one-time shot?
biennial for the 2 years. 5 a year.
All right, any questions? Can you give us just a little bit more information about what this bill is going to do?
You said do this quick.
Yes, I know, sir, but
Yes, ma'am.
it doesn't delineate that we're asking questions.
Yes, ma'am. The compact facilitates the movement of license of EMS personnel across state boundaries in the performance of their official duties by providing EMS professionals the privilege to practice in other compact states or come to Nevada from other states. The compact increases access to patient care, protects the public, reduces administrative burden, and enhances the emergency medical service system in the United States. The EMS compact also standardized state licensure requirements, mandating an FBI fingerprint background check for EMS personnel, establishes a national database for the personnel, creates a new mechanism for the states to collaborate on investigations and disciplines across state borders. As we all know, we have medical services, no matter what the specialty is, shortages in Nevada, so this is just one more piece of the pie that we can address in bringing in services. Does that take care of it for you, Chair?
Yes, sir. And Senator Titus.
Thank you, and thank you, Assemblyman, for bringing it forward. I think compacts are very important. Are all of our surrounding states part of the compact?
Not all. It's great. It's Idaho and Utah. There are 22 states are currently members, with being Idaho and Utah, and there are 7 additional states that are in progress.
Thank you very much. All right. With that, thank you very much. And we will go to those in support here in Carson City.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the committee, my name is Tom Clark. I'm here on behalf of MedX Air One. They are the fixed-wing rotor and ground ambulance service in northern rural Nevada. This compact will greatly enhance the ability for us to get paramedics from those surrounding states. And a lot of those surrounding states that have the compact are rural in nature, and so those folks like to work out in places like Elko, Winnemucca, Battle Mountain, and the like, and this will greatly enhance that process. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Chair Dondera Loop and committee members Lindsay Knox with McDonald Carano here representing REMSA. We fully support this bill and ditto to the things that Mr. Clark said.
Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee, Joan Hall, Nevada Rural Hospital Partners, also in agreement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone in Las Vegas? On the phone lines, please, BPS.
If you would like to testify in support of AB 158, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll go to opposition here in Carson City. In Las Vegas, on the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in opposition to AB 158, please press star 9 now on your phone to take the place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll go to neutral here in Carson City, Las Vegas. On the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in neutral for AB 158, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. And Senator Gokachia, did you have a question, sir?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, if the sponsor comes up at the end for comments, whenever we just, did you say Utah was in the compact or not? That's a huge issue for Wendover, where I don't have to tell you that ambulance service runs on both sides. They've been really struggling with that. So is Utah part of the compact?
PK O'Neill, for the record, yes, they are,
That's all I
Senator.
need.
And
Thank
that's
you.
one of the issues, is that ability to cross state lines for them.
Right, that's been huge there in that split community. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Closing remarks, sir.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Perfect. We love it. Okay, we're moving on to Assembly Bill 160. Okay, you're not who I expected, but are we not getting the Assemblyman today?
He is on his way, so I am just going to get us started if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead. Or
hello.
we can wait.
I don't want to hold you up, so
Okay.
we'll just get started. My name is Ashley Garza Kennedy. I represent Clark County, and I'm here to present AB 160, which is related to automatic record sealing on behalf of Assemblyman Miller. What AB 160 aims to do is to automate the sealing of eligible criminal records. I want to make clear that AB 160 is not intended to expand the eligibility of record sealing. It's simply about removing barriers for our constituents and using innovation and technology to streamline our record sealing process for our constituents. There currently are many circumstances in which you can get your record sealed here in Nevada, and to be eligible, someone must have been released from custody, not under a suspended sentence, discharged from parole or probation, have met a statutory waiting period, and have not been charged with any offense since. However, this process is very complicated, and it is very cumbersome, and quite frankly, it is an expensive process that is really difficult to do without a lawyer. A 2020 Michigan study found that 90% of people in Michigan who were eligible to have their records sealed did not apply to do so. So in an effort, this bill is trying to, in its first reprint, was trying to take our petition-based process and move it to something that can happen automatically without someone having to go through this whole legal process with a petition with the courts. In an effort to work with all the stakeholders involved, we have, in its second reprint, have narrowed the bill dramatically to really what we're looking at is misdemeanor drug offenses and Cat E drug offenses. Starting in January 1, 2027, we will have a process in place where DPS will be reviewing records that are eligible and notifying the administrative office of the courts, who will then notify the court with jurisdiction so we can get this process started. Currently, the petition-based process would exist for all the other eligible crimes. And then with the delayed implementation, it also gives us some time to make this work. In Nevada, we have a very disparate system where not every single criminal justice agency is on the same system, so this is a way to kind of start small and get us there. We did add an appropriation in the Ways and Means Committee of $2.5 million. $1 million of that is going to DPS to address their technology needs that they need to do for this biennium. And then $500,000 is going to be available for the administrative costs of running a task force. We are setting up a task force to help with getting this process rolling in a responsible way with all of the people involved in the criminal justice agencies. And then we will have $1 million set aside for the IFC contingency account for a statewide contract with a vendor to help with this work. As far as the fiscal notes, most of the state fiscal notes were in future bienniums because of the 2027 implementation time. And with the narrowed scope on the local government side, we were also able to decrease that fiscal impact in moving forward. And then I did want to just also note that we did submit a conceptual amendment to the committee that clarifies a few things that weren't captured in our intent in the second reprint. One of them being how the appropriation was spent, and so I wanted to make sure that was part of the conceptual amendment. We also delayed in the second reprint the implementation to 2027, and I just want to make sure in Section 9, where all the effective dates are in, that line aligns up, and then made some technical changes to the definition of eligible charge. So that is kind of it in a nutshell. I wanted to be brief, but stand for questions.
So, I see in section 8.15 the sum of $500,000 for the task force. I see further on a sum of $1 million for the allocation to the Department of Public Safety. So that's 1.5. And you said $1 million for the tech task force, for tech?
Yeah, so Ashley Garza Kennedy representing Clark County. So one of the pieces of the conceptual amendment was to clarify this allocation. So not changing the pot, it's still 2.5 million, but what our goal wasn't necessarily captured accurately in the reprint, so we wanted to address that. So right here it says 1 million for, in section 8.1, 1 million for the Department of Public Safety for their technology costs. So that is staying the same.
Okay.
Section 8.15 related to the task force, that $500,000 is strictly going to be used for the administrative costs. And then Section 8.2 is the $1 million for the statewide contract. That would be in the IFC contingency count.
Okay, and is that statewide contract? I mean, excuse me, I'm just trying to process this. Is that statewide contract set in place? Is it an RFP? Can you explain that?
Yeah, Ashley Kennedy representing Clark County. There will be an RFP process that exists for that work to happen. DPS would actually be the one that would be entering into that contract, in which the task force would be kind of overseeing as far as the work.
All right. Assemblyman Miller, welcome this morning.
Good morning.
Do you have anything to add to this?
So, C.H. Miller for the record. I would like to, not sure what my
What's been said?
My partner has already addressed.
What happens when you're tardy to class, sir?
I completely understand. My apologies for that. Got a little excited that we didn't start this morning until 11:30. And
never count on one start against the other.
Trying to pack my house up in hopes that we will get out of here tomorrow. So got a little bit. So the only thing that I think
this bill is dead.
No, it does such good work. Okay, so the only thing that I think I want to add, and I'm not sure if it was already mentioned, I just want to remind the committee that the implementation date is a day forward approach. So that means only convictions that start on the implementation date, only offenses that happen on the implementation date are eligible for automatic record sealing. Secondly, the task force is tasked with doing the work, but we have the next session before the implementation date if or when there are the work of the task force tells us exactly what we need to do as a state to bring forward this policy. I think it's a really smart and measured approach to tackling a task that seems to be insurmountable, but we know that other states have done it that have decentralized systems like ours. And so I just really like us to move forward in taking this step.
Thank you very much. All righty. With that, any questions? Senator Wynn or Senator Neal? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm looking at the reprint fiscal notes. They're very interesting. So can you talk about those? So I see that Metro has a first reprint, $341,000, but they said that it reduces the staff. But on the original, they were talking about the need to lease additional space. Like, I don't even understand what's going on.
C.H. Miller for the record, thank you for the question. My understanding is that Metro is under the assumption that they will have to build an entire department to handle this because of the increase in the number of people who will actually be eligible. So what we did, I think some states have like a retroactive policy where everything that is sealable becomes sealable through an automatic process. We did a day forward approach, so they actually would have time to build that department if they needed it based on what the task force finds is the best approach for the state.
I guess I was wondering, like, why you have to lease space. Isn't that a big old building on MLK?
C.H. Miller for the record.
I'm just asking.
It's a large building. Yes.
Ashley Kennedy for the record. I think their fiscal note, I will let them speak to it, but I think it was really about the manpower and the amount of staffing that they would need. As far as the leased space, I can't speak to that, but with the kind of work that we've done to try to narrow this and kind of do a small bite at the apple, it has reduced fiscal notes across the board for jurisdictions.
Have you seen the unsolicited fiscal note from the city of Las Vegas at 2 million, roughly 2.3 million over the biennium?
Ashley Kennedy, yes, I believe the unsolicited fiscal notes were updates based off of the second reprint. So it should be less than what was original part of the first.
What's the new number? Do you know what
That
the
I
new-
don't have on me right now.
Yeah, we don't appear to have any fiscal notes based on second reprint.
Sorry, I think Ashley Kennedy, I believe it was based off of the first reprint. So in the assembly, when it came out of the Assembly Judiciary Committee, we did already narrow it. The second reprint includes a couple technical changes, but for the most part, the appropriation.
So let me ask you this. Have you seen the Clark County, I mean, you coming up representing Clark County. However, in their fiscal note, you also have an absorption of fees and staff and equipment that's related to LVMPD. So isn't their fiscal note for 300,000+, that's not going to be absorbed in your fiscal note? So it's going to be 700,000 now on the reprint?
Ashley Kennedy, when our finance department submitted our fiscal note, it encompasses everything that we contribute to. So that includes Clark County's portion to LV MPD as well as district court. So they submitted their own updated fiscal notes, but ours encompass that as well.
So I just want, what's currently the number to administer the bill? You have 7 unsolicited fiscal notes that have a first reprint attached to it.
Thank you for the question. So based on what we accomplished in Assembly Ways and Means, we appropriated a $2.5 million ask. That should be the bottom line for, according to the second reprint with the amendment from Ways and Means. And then we had to reorganize that a little bit because the language came out a little weird and how that money was going to be used. But the 2.5 million is to cover DPS's fiscal note as well as administer the resources for the task force and then pursue a statewide contract to figure out how we put this all together from a decentralized perspective. So we're just asking for 2.5 million bottom line to get this done.
Senator Nguyen.
Is that 2.5, is that each year of the biennium or total?
A total. C.H. Miller for the record.
Sorry, I like my colleague, I had concerns when I saw the $29 million fiscal note by Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. And then there were a lot of other agencies in the north that don't appear to have even submitted anything, so I can only imagine. I appreciate the forward, and it looks like it's my understanding that this wouldn't even go into effect until convictions after 2027, kind of providing a pretty lengthy ramp to figure out how we can best get to that situation where we can start moving forward on new convictions. Is that correct?
Yes, C.H. Miller for the record. That is correct. We did, again, a day forward approach so that not just convictions, but even offenses starting on the implementation date become eligible that day. So we have enough time to figure out, even before the first automatic seal happens, there's a significant amount of time, from the implementation date to that first one being sealed even happens. So it gives us a good amount of ramp up time, even after the implementation date.
Ashley Kennedy, and just to add on to what the Assemblyman mentioned, looking with the day forward approach, the current statutory guidelines as far as the eligibility remain the same. So for a misdemeanor offense, you have to wait a year after completing any probation, and you have for a Cat E, 2 years. And so in the first year, we would really only be capturing anything that was acquitted, were charges that were dismissed. In the second year, we would probably start capturing the misdemeanors. And in the third year of implementation, we would be capturing the Category E. So it is not only a long on-ramp to this implementation date, but a long on-ramp moving forward as well.
Thank you, Chair, for the follow-up question. Sorry, this is always the frustration of coming here for record sealing, because we realized, and I know Senator Harris will appreciate this, most of these problems with automatic record sealing across our state and across agencies because we do not have a unified court system here.
Yes, C.H. Miller for the record. Yes.
And is this like an attempt to kind of create a pseudo-unified sealing system across the state?
C.H. Miller for the record. Essentially, yes. We're trying to get ourselves to that step, knowing that everybody is doing their own thing. We at least need to figure out what works for everyone else and potentially create one system that they can continue to do their own thing, but at least they communicate into the same system that will get us closer to an actual automatic record seal.
Thank you.
Ashley Kennedy, there have been 10 states have passed this type of legislation, 3 of which have kind of disparate systems like ours. One of them is Michigan, who actually just went live with their implementation last month, and they actually stood up a kind of like a database that all the kind of different jurisdictions are able to access. And so that was what they stood up, and they also are capturing stuff retroactively as well. So I think the whole goal of this task force was to figure out what works for our state and what works for our jurisdictions, and while we have this appropriation to start with, there are currently federal funds from the Department of Justice related to this type of work that are available now and can continue to be available.
Thank you very much. All right. Any additional questions? All right. Seeing none, thank you for your information, and we'll go to those in support here in Carson City. Those in support in, thank you.
Jonathan Norman, Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers. We do a lot of the record sealing in Clark County, and it's a pretty labor-intensive process. So anything that can speed up people sealing records that under law are allowed to be sealed is a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional support here in Carson City? Las Vegas, anyone? BPS, phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in support of AB 160, please press star 9 now on your phone or raise your hand in the Zoom window. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City.
Thank you, Chair Don Darrell Loop, members of the Senate Finance Committee. It's a pleasure to be with you here for Sunday brunch in Senate Finance. I want to start off by thanking Assemblyman Miller and Ms. Garza Kennedy. We have had several conversations about this bill this session, and I will say, and this kind of goes to Senator Wynn's point, the bill in its current state is much better than it was when it was first introduced from a county fiscal impact side. And we do agree that the sealing of records is an important societal goal. But I want to make clear that at this point, calling this an automatic sealing bill is a misnomer. We are currently constrained by our record system. We do not have a unified record system in this state, and the systems that we do have, I think, can best be described as antiquated. So the obligations of this bill are going to be placed on each state and county agencies to implement. So the DA's office, the courts, the DPS, law enforcement agencies, every one of them will need individual people to help meet the goals of this bill. And that's the basis of our fiscal note. So it takes the current defendant-initiated sealing processes and basically places the obligation to seal on the state and local governments. And if this is the direction that we want to go, then we need a more comprehensive look at what our sealing statutes currently do and what their requirements are. I will say that I was part of a group that worked with then Majority Leader Ford back in 2017 that drastically reduced the time an individual must wait in order to seal their records. And this bill uses those time frames as a basis for the automatic sealing process. But I can tell you in 2017, when we agreed to those reduced timeframes, we did that with an understanding that the defendant would have to show that they are rehabilitated. Because remember, what sealing is an act of judicial grace, where a defendant demonstrates that they are rehabilitated, and it's at that point that the sealing triggers. So I will say we do not object to the working group. We think this is something that we should study and look at and make sure that we have the systems in place that allow us to actually do what this bill wants us to do. Because I can tell you right now, if this bill were to take effect, now I realize it doesn't actually take effect for a few years, but it would be an illusory promise. With our current staffing, we would not be able to do what this bill wants to do, and people will think that their records are sealed when they are not, in fact, sealed. And I think that is a worse outcome for everybody. So with that, Chair, I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Chair Dondero Loop and members of the committee. My name is Beth Schmidt. I represent the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. We appreciate Assemblyman Miller and Ms. Garza Kennedy. We have had, as my colleague said, very productive conversations, but we are currently opposed to AB 160 as amended. And when we talk about this amendment, those fiscal notes that the organizations had, including mine, that was a very, very, very different bill that we were looking at. That was everything that could have been sealed. And when we discussed that, when we talked about the fiscal, that's why for Metro, that involved going from 120 seals a month to 4,500 a month. And so that's where the manpower issue came in. And we would have had to hire 265 people to do that process. So when it's brought back now just to the misdemeanor drugs and the e-felony drugs, that for us would be 3 additional employees. So we wouldn't need to create a new space. They would be absorbed into our current record sealing. So I hope that clarifies that. I also want to be abundantly clear. We are not opposed to record sealing. In fact, we seal more criminal records than any other law enforcement organization in this state. We contribute 80% of the criminal history in the state of Nevada. We are the experts on this, and yet we support the task force, and yet our request to specifically be named to the task force has not been accepted. We believe that Metro has that expertise to be able to help guide us toward that process. And the one thing I do want to talk about is that record sealing is a human process. It's extremely labor intensive. It can take anywhere from hours to days to seal a criminal record. And there is no existing technology right now. And that is something that we believe the task force should look at, but there isn't a piece of software that we could buy right now. The bill makes automatic sealing the responsibility of the state and ultimately the local agencies, and yet in this fiscal note, there's no fiscal allocation for the local agencies to be able to carry out. We're the ones that will actually have to do this work. And I just want to say that the sealing process encompasses more than just removing the criminal history repository information from databases. It's complex. At LVMPD, there are 20 different systems that we have to make sure the information is removed from, in addition to the detective's notes and any other information. And if you have any more questions.
Thank you very much. Next person, please.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Mike Cathcart, representing the City of Henderson. I believe my previous 2 colleagues have talked a great deal about the policy pieces, and I also do want to thank the assemblymen for working with us and all of the stakeholders. So I'll just address the City of Henderson's refiled fiscal note. We were one of the agencies that did do an unsolicited on the first reprint. We based that on the move out to 2027. So we moved out the information technology pieces to 2025. What that would include is we currently have 6 electronic systems that would have to be integrated. So we filed $500,000 in the first year, $500,000 in the second year for a total of $1 million in information technology needs. We don't know if that would cover the cost of those integrations. Integrations are an expensive endeavor when you're talking about legacy systems, and it did include adding 1 court support specialist in the outer years. So we do believe this would be an unfunded mandate in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Pamela Del Porto, Executive Director for Nevada Sheriffs and Chiefs Association. I'm just going to say ditto to the previous 3 speakers, but add that Nevada Sheriffs and Chiefs Association would like to be named on the task force list to provide the name of the agency representative from the rural community, because our association covers the state and the rural agencies. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. Any additional opposition here in Carson City? Las Vegas? Phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in opposition to AB 160, please press star 9 now, or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral here in Carson City. Las Vegas? On the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in neutral to AB 160, please press star 9 now on your phone, or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. All right. With that, any closing comments, Assemblyman?
Yes, thank you. C.H. Miller for the record. I just would like to, remind the committee again, this would not, the implementation date is 2027, meaning that we have the full 2025 legislative session to make changes, adjustments, push that out, or know if this is actually doable for our state. Secondly, I want to acknowledge that the task force has 2 law enforcement representatives, one from the urban and one from the rurals. Additionally, the task force can invite experts that they deem appropriate to provide more information and details. And then the last thing, I just want to be really clear about the disbursement of the $2.5 million. There's $1 million to go to DPS for the upgrades that they've mentioned that they're going to need to even start as they are rolling out their current tech upgrade. $500,000 also going to DPS for the administration of the task force, and then $1 million for a statewide vendor contract. If there's anything left over after that, then there is additional capacity for the jurisdictions that need support or help, maybe with their tech things, to apply for grants in that same bucket. After that, if it's not all used up, it reverts back to the general fund.
Thank you very much. All right. With that, I'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 160. And I will open the hearing on Assembly Bill 208. That's you? Okay. It said HHS, so I had 2 choices. All right, go ahead, please, Assemblywoman.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Venetia Considine. I represent Assembly District 18. I am here today with Mr. Ben Chalinor to talk about AB 208. Just a few quick facts. Nevada has the 3rd fastest rate of growth for dementia and Alzheimer's disease, and the number of Nevadans living with dementia is expected to grow by about 30% by 2025, from about 49,000 to about 64,000. It is estimated that 48,000 informal caregivers in Nevada are providing care for adults with dementia. These caregivers provide about 78 million hours of unpaid care, which is the equivalent to about $1.3 billion in care. Of these people who provide the care, nearly 70% of them are women. They play a critical role in the care of our senior citizens with complex health needs, disabling conditions, by asserting a wide range of household self-care and medical tasks necessary for health, function, and community living. And currently, many of them are doing them without pay and without being able to work. And reinforcing that the highest percentage of these are women, which we already know that women are at a higher rate in the long term for having low income going into retirement, and this bill hopefully plays a role in correcting that. So several studies have demonstrated how Medicaid reaps significant benefits while providing contributions for a family caregiver. When an older adult's caregiver receives the standardized assessments, the training, the respite, they receive supports, the person with dementia and Alzheimer's improve, their outcomes are better. Their placement in a nursing home, timeline-wise, is delayed, which helps the community. Fewer hospital readmissions, and decreased Medicaid programs and services utilization. Family caregivers play an important role in a state's efforts to help Medicaid recipients safely remain in their community and being cared for by people that they trust and they love. In summary, the bill's intent is to provide financial support and training for family caregivers, including legally responsible individuals or LRIs, such as a spouse, a daughter-in-law, a son-in-law, or another family member. The bill requires HHS to apply for a waiver to the existing home and community-based services for Medicaid recipients that will allow Medicaid recipients to choose their caregiver, including their LRI, and the residence where the caregiving is provided. It requires a caregiver chosen by the recipient to become an employee of a personal care agency or intermediary service organization. Provides the caregiver a daily stipend that is at least 65% of the per diem rate, and requires a caregiver to complete training as determined by the Aging and Disability Servicing Division of DHHS. So in short, we have a growing number of people with dementia and Alzheimer's, and that means we have a growing number of family caregivers that currently are doing a lot of this without any income. This bill is to provide those family caregivers income through a structured framework that allows them, the patients, to be in a loving home with family and helps our community. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Challenor for more information.
And would you please make sure you address the fiscal note?
Yes, Benjamin Challenor, Director of Public Policy for the Alzheimer's Association. There's a couple fiscal notes on there, and we were able to get those actually amended into the most recent reprint. In total, it's about a $460,000 going towards, $460,000 first initially to the Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy. Of that, about 150 will go towards personnel, travel, and operating expenses, and then another about 309,000 going towards the remainder. Of that, actually, only 151 will be coming from the general fund. The remainder will be reimbursement from the federal government through CMS, and then additionally, there is a 722,000 fiscal or appropriation from or going to where's that? The Division of Welfare and Supportive Services. But of the 72,000 will actually be coming from the general fund. There is an additional fiscal note that I believe, we were able to remove after the first reprint and was addressed in Ways and Means, and that came from the Division of Aging and Supportive Services, and that was removed. And I believe we may have folks from the divisions who can speak to that as well, if needed.
So is the total fiscal note 460,000?
It's 460,000 for healthcare financing and policy, and then 72,000 for the Division of Welfare and Supportive Services. And then again, 151 will actually be coming from the general fund, and the remainder will be reimbursed from the federal government.
Thank you. Any questions, please? All right, seeing none, thank you very much. With that, we'll go to those in support of Assembly Bill 208 here in Carson City. Welcome.
Chair and committee members, my name for the record is Andrew Lee Pilbit. I'm the chairman of the United Veterans Legislative Council for the state of Nevada, 270,000 veterans plus. Anyway, a lot of people don't realize that many of our veterans are not covered by the VA. It's about a third of our veterans in the state that get services from the VA. However, we have a lot of veterans in our rurals and areas especially that are coming up with dementia, and we support 208. Those veterans need to use these services because they don't have access to the VA. So that is our support for AB 208. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional here in Carson City? Seeing none. In Las Vegas? Seeing none. On the phone lines, BPS when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in support of AB 208, please press star 9 now on your phone or raise your hand in the Zoom to take your place in the queue.
Good morning, Madam Chair and the hardworking committee. This is Dora Martinez with Nevada Disability Pre-Action Coalition, and me too. Thank you for your everything.
Thank you very much. Next caller, please.
Good, beautiful Sunday morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Matthew Wilkie, Wilkie for the record. Just calling in support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Any additional callers?
The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City. In Las Vegas. On the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in opposition to AB 208, please press star 9 now on your phone or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral here in Carson City. In Las Vegas. On the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in neutral to AB 208, please press star 9 now on your phone or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. All right. Any closing comments? Thank you very much. With that, we'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 208, and we will go to Assembly Bill 216. Assemblywoman Gorlow, welcome. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, I am Michelle Gorlow, representing Assembly District 35, here to present AB 216, which I hope will be very quick for you. This is a Travel Insurance Model Act. The bill codifies travel insurance language to conform with best practices in the industry. Over 30 other states have already implemented these changes. A lot of them are changing definitions and just clarification of what happens when you purchase travel insurance. We are going off the first reprint, and with that, the Department of Taxation, upon additional clarification and understanding the bill as amended, says the bill does not create a fiscal impact, so the fiscal note has also been removed. And with that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions on this particular bill? Fiscal note has been removed. Thank you very much. All right, we'll go to those in support here in Carson City.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. Ashley Cruz with Career Nevada for the record, here on behalf of AIG, and we are in full support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional support here in Carson City? In Las Vegas? On the phone lines, please, BPS, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in support of AB 216, please press star 9 now on your phone or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City. In Las Vegas, on the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in opposition to AB 216, please press star 9 now on your phone or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to neutral here in Carson City. Las Vegas, on the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in neutral for AB 216, please press star 9 now or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. Chair, the public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. Any closing comments? All righty. With that, we'll close the hearing and we'll go on to AB 224. Assemblywoman Peters, welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair, committee members. I'm Sarah Peters. I want to apologize for my tardiness this morning. We are at the end of a very long session, and I want to give a huge shout out to my kiddos who have tolerated it pretty well so far, but this morning was not so tolerated. Today, I am here to present Assembly Bill 224, which is known as the NSHE Collective Bargaining Bill. We have attempted to pass this piece of legislation for the last 3 sessions. It has been included in other collective bargaining bills, but this time around we gave them their own bill and have been working since before the legislative session on this with NSHE and other stakeholders to ensure that it has gotten to the point where it has today. AB 224 authorizes collective bargaining for professional employees at NSHE, the largest group of public employees in Nevada who do not have collective bargaining in statute for negotiations of mutual beneficial work conditions. The provisions of AB 224 mirror the provisions for collective bargaining in NRS 288 for state classified employees and local government employees with some classifications for higher education. So there are certain appropriations that have been added to this bill in the Money Committee in the Assembly that will go to the Interim Finance Committee for once NSHE has developed a plan to implement the collective bargaining process. We also put in a bit of funds for the AG's office in the event that they will need additional staff for arbitration and other legal issues. I have Kent Irvin here, Dr. Kent Irvin here with additional comments.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Kent Irvin, past president, Nevada Factory Alliance. For the record, we have submitted a fact sheet on AB 224 and a section-by-section description that are posted on Nellis. I would be happy to go through the highlights of the bill or to answer the questions. The appropriations, along with other amendments in the Assembly, address concerns from NSHE. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a fiscal note to this bill?
The fiscal note was for NSHE to hire additional staff to undertake the collective bargaining process as they interpreted it in the language. We determined in the Assembly Money Committee to appropriate that to IFC so that NSHE can come with a plan on how to implement the process in a more structured manner than what was presented in the fiscal note.
Thank you very much.
Kent Irvin, for the record, and the fiscal note for DHRM was removed with the amendment in the Assembly.
Thank you very much. All right. Any questions on this particular bill? All right. Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll go to those in support here in Carson City.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Dakota Hoskins, Political Director for SEIU Local 1107. We stand in support of AB 224 and urge your support as well. Thank you.
Chair Dondero Loop, members of the committee, for the record, Carlos Hernandez representing the Nevada State AFL-CIO. We are in full support of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional in support here in Carson City? In Las Vegas, go ahead, please.
Doug Unger, D-O-U-G, U-N-G-E-R, Nevada Faculty Alliance. Thank you, Chair Donero Loop and members of the committee for your consideration to support AB 224. The bill as amended answers many of NG's previous policy and fiscal concerns, and we continue to work with them in a spirit of community. This is a well-written, sensible bill that our higher education teachers and professionals have desired for a long, long time. Thank you for supporting AB 224 and our Nevada faculty.
All right, thank you very much. Any additional in Las Vegas? All right, seeing none, we'll go to the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in support of AB 224, please press star 9 now on your phone or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue.
Thank you, Chairwoman Dondero Loop and committee members. My name is Jim New, the president of the Nevada Faculty Association. Collective bargaining conducted in good faith results in benefits for both management and labor, including greater efficiency, a reduction of grievances, and cost savings. I urge you to vote in favor of Assembly Bill 224. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next caller, please.
If you're just joining us and would like to testify in support of AB 224, please press star 9 now on your phone or take the place in your queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City. In Las Vegas, phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in opposition to AB 224, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to neutral here in Carson City. In Las Vegas, on the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in neutral for AB 224, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time, Chair.
Thank you very much. With that, closing comments. All righty, we'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 224, and we'll open the hearing on Assembly Bill 237. Welcome back.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members. I am Sarah Peters. I represent Assembly District 24, and I had the honor of chairing the Interim Health and Human Services Committee this last interim. Assembly Bill 237 in its initial draft, as introduced, was a completely different bill than what you see in front of you today. This bill is to kind of a fix-it bill to increase the reimbursement rates for certain Medicaid-covered nursing facilities. These are long-term nursing facilities, raising those rates to $275. There's an appropriation in both years of the biennium for that effort. And that is pretty much what the bill does.
Thank you very much. Is there a fiscal note on this bill?
The fiscal has been, sorry, Sarah Peters for the record, the fiscal has been absorbed into the language of the bill and includes an appropriation of 2.6 million and 6.5 million in each year of the biennium respectively in section 1, and then 8.1 million and 19.5 million in each year of the biennium in section or subsection 2. The first part is the reimbursement rate, and the second part is to cover, is the federal portion. So the first portion is the general fund. The first subsection is the general fund. The second subsection is the federal fund.
Senator Nguyen.
I know that during the normal subcommittee hearings on human services that we did make some increases for these types of nursing facilities. But after that budget went through, we realized that perhaps that wasn't enough. What type of increase to the daily rate of reimbursement does this now bring these facilities up to, if you know?
So, Sarah Peters, for the record, this is to increase those reimbursement rates to $275 a day. I believe I can't remember what they are at the moment, but it's a pretty significant increase.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Additional questions on Assembly Bill 237. Senator Gokachia, any questions on this one? Senator Titus?
Just a comment, I guess. Because we were having a little sidebar, I better hold up to it. I'm just kind of concerned. All right, we raised the Medicaid rate. Well, what will that do to those people? Well, again, the rate they're charging in the facility is usually higher than that, and those that have the ability to pay, I was just kind of concerned maybe it'll ratchet that cost up as well. It'll help the people that are fully Medicaid, or Medicare, but then those that are paying a portion of it, it might impact them a little more, or am I way out on a limb?
No, Sarah Peters, for the record, that's an interesting question about how it would affect the non-Medicaid patients. I think in most of these long-term facilities that do take Medicaid patients, the percent of Medicaid patients, clients are, is really significant. It's like 85 to 90% of the facility are on Medicaid. And so this is a huge part of what covers the cost of running those facilities.
I thank you for that. I was just, kind of worried about maybe some people on the outside that weren't Medicaid qualified, if that would impact them because the other rate was coming up. But thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
If I may
Senator
add to that.
Senator Titus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the reality is this would help those folks because what happens is the private payers and the private insurances tend to pay more because they're losing money on the Medicaid folks. Medicare won't pay for nursing homes, so this would be a Medicaid. So if the nursing homes would be able to get at least some of their costs for the cost of these patients that are there on Medicaid, it would prevent the hospital from increasing the rates for the other folks.
Thank you, and I appreciate the education this morning. Thank you.
Sarah Peters, for the record, I was just hesitant to make the definitive statement that it would not increase the rates, but our hope is that it wouldn't, and this would help offset some of those operating costs that currently are not covered under the Medicaid rates.
Senator Gansert? Senator Neal? Going once, going twice. Okie doke. Thank you very much. All right, with that, we'll go to support here in Carson City. Las Vegas, on the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in support of AB 237, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue.
Good, beautiful Sunday morning to you, Madam Chair, and the members of the committee, and thank you to the sponsor of the bill, the awesome Assemblywoman Peters. This is Dora Martinez with Nevada Disability Action Coalition, and we support this bill, and thank you, and I hope you sound better later.
Next caller, please.
If you're just joining us and you would like to testify in support of AB 237, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City. Las Vegas, on the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in opposition to AB 237, please press star 9 on your phone to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral. Carson City, Las Vegas, and the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in neutral to AB 237, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, closing comments? All right. We'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 237. And with we are going to move to a work session on the bills we just heard so that we can get them down to the floor. So with that, since we've just heard them, Mr. Thurley, this should go rather quickly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal Analysis Division. The first bill on work session this morning is Assembly Bill 150, sponsored by Assemblywoman Anderson. It was presented earlier this morning by the Assemblywoman. The bill revises provisions governing the waiver of certain fees by the Board of Regents of the University of Nevada. The fiscal impact relates to a general fund appropriation to the Nevada System of Higher Education, which is in section 1.7 of the bill. It makes an appropriation of $457,449 in each fiscal year of the upcoming biennium for the cost of granting waivers pursuant to NRS 396.5449. There was support testimony from Battleborn Progress, various Indian tribes, Nevada Faculty Alliance, and UNR. There was no opposition testimony or neutral testimony. There are no amendments. If the committee wishes to move this bill, appropriate action would be due pass.
All right, any discussion? I'll accept a motion of due pass.
Move to do pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Nguyen. A second from Senator Harris. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries, and we'll hand that one to Senator Gansert. Ms. Crockett, go ahead.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 155 was heard this morning, and it requires policies of health insurance to include coverage for certain biomarker testing. There is a general fund appropriation in section 28.5, and that is for $325,000 to the Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy, as well as associated authorized funding. There was an amendment handed out at the meeting. All senators should have this available on their desk. If the committee wishes to take action on the motion would be to amend and do pass with the conceptual amendment provided.
Thank you very much. Any discussion on this? I will accept a motion.
Amend and do pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Nguyen. A second from Senator Titus. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I'll hand Senator Nguyen the floor statement. Thank you very much. Go ahead, please, when you're ready.
Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal Analysis Division. The next bill is Assembly Bill 158, was presented by Assemblyman O'Neill earlier this morning. The bill revises provisions relating to emergency medical services. There is a general fund appropriation in section 21.5 of the bill. It appropriates $5,000 per year of the upcoming biennium to the Division of Public and Behavioral Health for maintenance fees and software licenses to connect to the coordinated database to established under the Recognition of Emergency Medical Services Personnel Licensure Interstate Compact. There was testimony and support from MedX Air One, REMSA, and Nevada Rural Hospital Partners. There was no testimony in opposition or neutral. There were no amendments discussed. If the committee wishes to move this bill, appropriate action would be do pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Titus, and second by Senator Wynn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I'll give Senator Titus the floor statement. Senator Titus, in your absence last night, you were handed many floor statements. Let me explain something to you. You snooze, you lose around here. All righty, we'll go to Assembly Bill 160.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 160 revises provisions governing the sealing of certain criminal records. It was presented by Clark County. There's funding totaling $2.5 million general fund in the bill. There was a conceptual amendment provided, which all senators should have a copy of, revising sections 1.3, 8.15, and 8.2 of the bill, as well as section 9. Comment was provided in support by Nevada Legal Services providers, various governmental entities testified in opposition, and there were no comments in neutral. If the committee wishes to take action, the action would be to amend and do pass with the proposed conceptual amendment.
Okay, thank you very much. Senator Neal. Oh, okay, motion to do pass from, amend and do pass from Senator Neal, a second from Senator Wynn. Any discussion on this? Senator Titus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will not be able to support this bill based on the testimony in opposition. I think it's irresponsible for us to do this. Thank you.
Senator Gansert, do you have any comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to reserve my right. I'm still looking at it. Thank you.
Senator Gokachia.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and because of the impacts to local government, I am concerned about it. So I will be a no at this time. Hopefully we can get to a better place.
All right. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay from Senator Titus and Senator Gokachia. Reserving her right is Senator Gansert. And the motion passes. And I will give the floor statement to Senator Neal. All right, we'll move on to Assembly Bill 208.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 208 establishes a program to provide structured family caregiving to certain recipients of Medicaid. It was presented by Assemblywoman Considine earlier this morning. Regarding the fiscal impact, there is a general fund appropriation in section 2.3 of the bill of $50,662 in FY24 and $100,400 in FY25. That appropriation would go to the Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy for the costs of including structured family caregiving for persons suffering from dementia as medical assistance under Medicaid. There is also on subsection 2 of section 2.3 authorizations for expenditure of non-general fund, non-highway funds. So this is the federal matching portion of the bill. There was testimony and support from the United Veterans Legislative Council for Nevada, Nevada Disability Peer Action Coalition, and Matthew Wilkie. There was no testimony in opposition or neutral. There are no amendments. If the committee wishes to move this bill, appropriate action will be due pass.
Thank you very much. And any discussion? Senator Neal? Motion. Thank you very much. Second from Senator Wynn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Thank you very much. And I'll give the floor statement on that one to Senator Canizaro. All right, we're on to Assembly Bill 216.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 216 was heard this morning, presented by Assemblywoman Gorlow. It revises provisions relating to insurance, particularly travel insurance. It was noted there was no fiscal impact on the bill. One entity testified in support, and there were no comments in neutral or opposition, and no amendments were presented on the bill. The appropriate motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much. Do pass from Senator Wynn, second from Senator Harris. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I'll hand that one to Senator Gokachia. All right, we're on to Assembly Bill 224. Ms. Crockett. Sorry, Mr. Thorley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 224 revises provisions governing collective bargaining related to the Nevada system of higher education. The bill was presented by Assemblywoman Peters and Dr. Kent Irvin, past president of the Nevada Faculty Alliance. Regarding the fiscal impact, the bill makes two general fund appropriations, one in section 65.3 of the bill. This is a general fund appropriation to the Interim Finance Committee for allocation to NSHE for personnel and operating expenses related to the collective bargaining changes in the bill. In FY24, it's approximately $601,000. In FY25, approximately $1.3 million. The second general fund appropriation is in section 65.5 of the bill. This is also appropriation to the Interim Finance Committee, this time for allocation to the Attorney General's office, approximately $181,000 in FY24 and approximately $231,000 in FY25. This is for personnel, operating, and information services expenses related to the changes in collective bargaining in the bill. Testimony support was provided by SCIU Local 1107, Nevada Faculty Alliance, AFL-CIO, Nevada Faculty Association. I'm not sure if that's also Alliance and just misspoken. There was no testimony in opposition or neutral. There are no amendments. The committee wishes to move the bill. Appropriate action would be do pass.
Excuse me, thank you. Thank you very much. And with that, I'll accept a motion. Thank you very much, Senator Wynn. And second from Senator Neal. I think everybody's asleep. All right. Any discussion? Senator Gansert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I will not be supporting this legislation. I don't want to further expand collective bargaining. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Madam Chair, I'd like to at least reserve.
Thank you very much, Senator Gokachiev. I appreciate that. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. All right. Senator Titus and Senator Gansert are nays, and Senator Gokachia reserves his right. Thank you very much. And with that, I will give the floor statement to Senator Wynn. All right, the last one is Assembly Bill 237.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 237 was presented by Assemblywoman Peters. It provides general fund appropriations and authorizes funding to support a rate increase for nursing facilities for Medicaid. General funds total $2.6 million in fiscal year 2024 and $6.5 million in fiscal year 2025. There was one comment in support of the bill and no comments in opposition or neutral. No amendments were discussed. The appropriate motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Wynn. Second from Senator Neal. Any discussion on this particular item? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I will give the floor statement on this one to Senator Titus. All right, we're going to recess for just a minute. Don't, committee members, please don't go far. Staff needs to grab a couple things, so please don't go far. I mean, like 5 minutes tops, maybe.
lead off like the
All right, class, time to settle down and get ready to listen. This is going to go really fast. We're going to do some work session, and we're going to go as fast as we can because we honestly don't know when we're going to call back to floor. We also are going to need to break for lunch for just a minute because while you took a Starbucks run, we didn't. So if you're feeling guilty, we're happy for that. All right, Mr. Thorley, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're going to start with a couple Senate bills, beginning with Senate Bill 10. This bill revises provisions related to the State Infrastructure Bank and is a bill from the Committee on Growth and Infrastructure on behalf of the State Treasurer. This bill was heard on June 1st in this committee. There is an amendment, and it should be online if you want to look on Nellis, attached to the Exhibits tab of the bill page for Senate Bill 10. In essence, the bill deletes Section 16.5 of the bill. It would eliminate the proposed $50 million general fund appropriation to the State Infrastructure Bank, thereby removing all fiscal impacts of the bill. The bill then just has policy in it. So if the committee wishes to move this bill, the appropriate action would be amend with the conceptual amendment on Nellis and do pass.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Amend and do pass from Senator Wynn. Senator Neal, second. Any discussion on the motion? Senator Neal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I will reserve my right on this. I still don't support the movement into allowing buildings to be built, and I didn't feel comfortable learning about the $15 million that was being managed by someone that I didn't feel had the expertise to build buildings.
Thank you very much. Senator Ganser, did you have something you wanted to
No,
say?
thank you. I'll support the motion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Senator Titus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be a no. I'm concerned about that transparency issue, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Gokachia, did you have a comment? Thank you very much. All righty. I'm sorry? Okay. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay from Senator Titus. And with that, motion passes, and I will give the floor statement to Senator Wynn. All right. Ms. Crockett. Oh, Mr. Thorley, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next bill we're going to go to is Senate Bill 400. All right, Senate Bill 400 was heard in this committee on May 19th, sponsored by Senator Neal, revises provisions relating to homelessness. At the bill hearing, there was a conceptual amendment presented by Senator Neal, and please stop me, Senator, if I get this wrong. There is an amendment on Nellis available online attached to the bill, the exhibit tab on the bill. It's dated May 21st. There is another verbal amendment regarding the funding for this bill. So in the proposed amendment from Senator Neal, $30 million from gaming tax revenue would be deposited into the account created by the bill to address homelessness. That is being changed to a $30 million general fund appropriation. So it gets rid of the allocation from gaming tax revenue and instead does $30 million appropriation from the general fund. All other parts of the conceptual amendment that were discussed at the bill hearing on May 19th are still is what is being proposed. Happy to answer any questions. So the appropriate action would be then to amend and do pass with both the conceptual amendment that was presented at the bill hearing and then a slight change in the funding source from $30 million from gaming tax to a $30 million general fund appropriation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Senator Wynn. Amend and do pass. Second from Senator Harris. Thank you very much. Any discussion? Senator Gansert?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm going to reserve my right till I can actually see the final document. I was present during the hearings, and the bill changed several times, so I'm going to have to look at it when we see the final form. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Senator Titus? Okay. Thank you very much. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I'll give the floor statement to Senator Neal. Ms. Crockett.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Senate Bill 454 was heard on May 16th. It makes appropriations to various offices within the Office of the Governor in the amount of $26,721. There were no amendments presented on the bill, and the motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much. Senate, any discussion? All right. Do pass from Senator Wynn, second from Senator Neal. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you very much, and I'll give the floor statement to Senator Wynn.
All right, we're now going to move on to some assembly bills that the majority of them were heard yesterday. A few, I think, are held over from previous days. We're going to start with Assembly Bill 15. Assembly Bill 15 was heard yesterday. It prescribes the manner for increasing the base salaries of district court judges. It was presented by the Assistant Court Administrator. The fiscal note relates to, there is no fiscal impact in the upcoming biennium. It would hit starting in FY27. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much.
To pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Wynn. A second from Senator Harris. Thank you very much. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Senator Harris, I'll give you the floor statement.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. The next bill is Assembly Bill 16. This was also heard yesterday. It revises the manner in which the base salaries of justices of the Supreme Court and judges of the Nevada Court of Appeals are determined. It contains a general fund appropriation of $86,113. There were no amendments discussed on the bill. The motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much. So moved from Senator Wynn, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay from Senator Titus. And please mark Senator Gokachia absent. Motion passes, and I will give the floor statement again to Senator Harris.
Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal Analysis Division. The next bill is Assembly Bill 37, which was presented in this committee yesterday by Fergus Laffords from the Rural Behavioral Health Policy Board. Regarding the fiscal impact, there's a general fund appropriation in section 10.5 of the bill. Turning there very quickly, to appropriate general funds of approximately $685,000 in FY24 and $1.4 million in FY25 to the Nevada System of Higher Education for personnel and operating expenses associated with establishing the Behavioral Health Workforce Development Center. There were no amendments, so if the committee wishes to move this bill, appropriate action will be due pass.
Thank you very much. Senator Titus, I'm sorry, Senator Gansert. And second from Senator Wynn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. And Senator Gansert, I'm telling you, I'm going to give you the floor statement. I shake my head.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. The next bill is Assembly Bill 77. It creates the Office of Entrepreneurship within the Governor's Office of Economic Development. It contains general fund appropriations in Section 13.5 of approximately $250,000 in fiscal year 2024 and $269,000 in fiscal year 2025. The bill was presented by Senator Wynn, and there were no amendments discussed on the bill. The appropriate motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much, and I'll accept a motion from Senator Neal, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Senator Titus, and please mark Senator Gokachia absent. Motion passes, and I will give the floor statement to Senator Neal.
Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal. The next bill is Assembly Bill 84. This was also heard yesterday in this committee, presented by Assemblyman Watts. It provides for the issuance of free annual permits to certain persons for entering state parks and recreational areas. There is a general fund appropriation in Section 1.7 of the bill in the amount of approximately $215,000 in FY24 and $242,000 in FY25. This is an appropriation to the Division of State Parks within DCNR for offsetting the loss of revenue from user fees associated with implementing the program in this bill. The committee, there are no amendments. If the committee wishes to move this bill, the appropriate action would be do pass.
Thank you very much. Do
84.
pass. Do pass from Senator Wynn, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I'll give the floor statement to Senator Titus, and please mark Senator Gokachia absent.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 119 was heard yesterday in committee. It was presented by Assemblyman Orchenlicker. It creates the Vulnerable Adult Fatality Review Committee. It was noted that the fiscal impact was addressed in Assembly Ways and Means, and there was a conceptual amendment presented, which all senators should have a copy of. If the committee wishes to take action on the bill, the motion would be to amend and do pass.
Thank you very much. And Senator Neal, amend and do pass, second from Senator Wynn. Any discussion?
I'm going to reserve my right. I need to look at it.
Reserve right from Senator Gansert. Okay, and Senator Titus will be a no, and Senator Gokachia is absent. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Senator Titus, and once again, Senator Gokachia is absent. All right, floor statement on that I will send down to Senator Wynn.
Next is Assembly Bill 125, also heard yesterday in this committee, presented by Assemblywoman Backus. The bill revises provisions relating to public safety. There is a general fund appropriation in Section 4.5 of the bill. It would appropriate to the Investigation Division of the Department of Public Safety approximately $105,000 in FY24 and approximately $113,000 in FY25 for personal travel, operation, equipment, and information service expenses related to carrying out the provisions of this act. There were no amendments. If the committee wishes to move this bill, appropriate action would be do pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Wynn. Second by Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And Senator Gansert, would you mind taking the floor statement on that? Okay, next bill.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 128 was heard yesterday. It was presented by the Nevada Conservation League. It appropriates $250,000 per fiscal year to the Outdoor Education and Recreation Grant Program account. There were no amendments discussed on the bill. The appropriate motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much from Senator Wynn, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And I'll give this floor statement to Senator Neal.
Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal Analysis Division. The next bill is Assembly Bill 137, also heard in this committee yesterday, presented by Assemblywoman Gorlow and Stacy Weeks, Administrator of Medicaid Division. The bill revises provisions relating to fetal alcohol spectrum disorders. There is a general fund appropriation in section 7.5 of the bill, which is why it's in this committee. It would appropriate from the general fund to the Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy to provide Medicaid coverage described in the bill, and for IT system updates and various operating expenses, the amounts of approximately $115,000 in FY24 and approximately $159,000 in FY25. There were no proposed amendments. Appropriate action would be due pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Nguyen. Second from Senator Lang. Any discussion on this bill? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. And Senator Titus, would you take this? No fun allowed in here. All righty. But if you want to answer out loud, you just go right ahead. We're on it. Thank you very much. Next bill.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 138 was heard yesterday, presented by representatives of Shatterproof. It requires a state plan for Medicaid to include coverage for certain behavioral health integration services and contains general fund appropriations in Section 3 of approximately $5,000 in fiscal year 2024 and $207,000 in fiscal year 2025. There were no amendments discussed on the bill, and the motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much. Senator Nails, do pass. Second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And I can't assign this to Assemblywoman Torres, so I guess I have to pick somebody up here. Senator Nguyen.
All right, we're cooking with gas now. Let's go to Assembly Bill 246.
No, I think that's a discussion around this building, you know.
Assembly Bill 246 was presented by Assemblywoman Torres. It revises provisions governing elections and was presented by the Assemblywoman. There is a general fund appropriation of approximately $240,000 in FY24, and 200. I can't read my writing. $209,000 in FY25 for expenses related to translation of voting materials into additional languages. There was no amendments presented. If the committee wishes to move this bill, the appropriate action would be due pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Nguyen. Second from Senator Lang. Any discussion on this bill? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay from Senator Titus, and Senator Gokachia is absent.
Madam Chair, I was going to say I'm going to reserve my right. I saw this in LOE too, so I'll just reserve my right for now. Thanks.
Senator Gansert is reserving her right. Motion passes, and Senator Harris, would you be so kind to take this? And when you're ready, the next bill, and I'll grade your handwriting later.
Assembly Bill 255 was heard yesterday. It was presented by Assemblywoman Cohen. It revises provisions governing financial assistance to the adoptive family of a child with special needs. There are appropriations in several sections of the bill. Section 1.2 contains approximately $181,000 in fiscal year 2024, $143,000 in fiscal year 2025. Section 1.4 contains approximately $495,000 in fiscal year 2024 and $641,000 in fiscal year 2025. And 1.6 contains $58,000 approximately in fiscal year 2024 and approximately $70,000 in fiscal year 2025. And all these appropriations are accompanied by authorized funding. There are no amendments discussed on the bill, and the motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much. And I'll accept a do pass from Senator Nguyen, a second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And Senator Nguyen, I'll give you this.
Next bill is Assembly Bill 257, presented by Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong, was heard in the committee yesterday. Or sponsored by Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong and was presented by Liz Ortenberger until the Assemblywoman showed up. There is a, sorry, that was.
You can tell it's Sunday morning and we're just punchy. I know everybody's hoping my voice will give out, but it's not going to.
Very little sleep at this point. There was discussion regarding an unsolicited fiscal note from the Division of Child and Family Services that was put on the bill after the bill left the Assembly for approximately $2.16 million per year for payments. For reimbursement payments for strangulation examinations. There was discussion about whether those were, the bill language permissive or was required the state to make those payments. Subsequent to the bill hearing, there was discussion about a conceptual amendment to fund the state, fund reimbursements from the state at 50% of the projected cost, and then would have the counties pick up the other 50% of the cost. That would reduce the fiscal note from DCFS from $1.6 million in, $2.16 million in each year to just $2.16 million over the biennium, so just a little over $1 million per year. Happy to answer any questions. There were no other amendments.
Thank you very much. Senator Gansert. Oh, okay. Senator Gansert is making the motion amended to pass. Second by Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And I will give that to Senator Gansert.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division, Assembly Bill 259 was presented by Assemblywoman Brown May. It requires a provider of jobs and day training services to develop a plan to transition persons earning less than the state minimum wage to earning at least the state minimum wage. It contains a general fund appropriation in section 12.5 of approximately $396,000. There were no amendments discussed on the bill. The appropriate motion would be to do pass.
Do pass from Senator Nguyen, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I'll give that floor statement to Senator Harris.
Next is Assembly Bill 310, presented in this committee yesterday by Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno and the Executive Director at the Nevada Housing Coalition. The bill revises provisions relating to affordable housing. There is a $32.2 million general fund appropriation in Section 4 of the bill. There was a handout exhibit presented at the bill hearing that discussed how the $32.2 million would be distributed. There were no amendments presented, and if the committee wishes to move this bill, appropriate action would be do pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Nguyen. Do pass, and second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? Senator Titus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll definitely support this out of the committee with the right to change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I will give the floor statement to Senator Neal.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 319 was heard yesterday, presented by Senator Wynn. It appropriates $43 million to the Department of Agriculture for the purpose of awarding grants of money to Nevada school districts to provide universal free breakfast and lunch to Nevada pupils. There were no amendments discussed on the bill. The appropriate motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much. I'll accept a motion from Senator Wynn, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? Senator Gokachia.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm definitely going to support this. I just think it's wrong when we have kids going to school and some are packing the lunch because they don't meet that lower threshold. And, it's problematic for some of these students. Well, I do support, I just wish it went a little farther and got into some of the schools that don't have lunch programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And with that, Senator Gokachia, can I get you to do the floor statement on that? Okay, sir. It's yours.
Next is Assembly Bill 376, heard yesterday in this committee and was presented by Treasurer Conine. The bill establishes provisions governing paid family leave for certain state employees. There is a small general fund appropriation in Section 3.5 of the bill, approximately $18,000 to the Division of Human Resource Management for computer programming. There were no amendments. The appropriate action will be do pass.
Thank you very much. I'll accept a do pass motion. Senator Wynn, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion on this bill? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And I'll hand off this particular floor statement to Senator Gansert.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 383 was presented yesterday by Assemblywoman Torres. It revises provisions relating to healthcare. It contains a general fund appropriation in Section 20.5 to the Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy for approximately $15,000 in fiscal year 2024 and $23,000 in fiscal year 2025. No amendments were discussed on the bill, and the appropriate motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Wynn. Senator Lang is second. Any discussion? Senator Gansert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to reserve my right.
Thank you very much. Senator Titus. Senator Gokachia. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And Senator Neal, I'll give you the floor statement.
The next bill is Assembly Bill 388, heard yesterday in committee. It was presented by Senator Wynn, pinch hitting for Speaker Yeager. Section 1 of the bill appropriates $3 million from the general fund to the Department of Sentencing Policy for the purpose of funding grants awarded to the Nevada Local Justice Reinvestment Coordinating Council. There were no amendments. If the committee wishes to move this bill, the appropriate action would be do pass.
Thank you very much. Do pass from Senator Wynn. Second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. I'm sorry, Senator Gansert.
I'm just going to reserve
Did I
my
miss
right.
you?
I'll reserve my right. I have to look at it again. Thanks.
All righty. Thank you. All right. With that, Senator Wynn, I'll give you the floor statement.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. Assembly Bill 422 was presented yesterday by Assemblywoman Gorlow. It requires the Aging and Disability Services Division to create a pilot program to serve children diagnosed with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. And it was noted that federal funds are expected to be available. Therefore, there is no fiscal cost associated with the bill at this time. No amendments were discussed, and the motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much. I'll accept a motion from Senator Nguyen, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I'll give the floor statement on this one to Senator Lang. Sit here long enough, you get work.
Wayne Thorley for the record. Next up is Assembly Bill 451. This bill was presented yesterday in committee by Amy Stevenson, Director of the Governor's Finance Office. It is a budget implementation bill. It would allow for the payment of overtime for two positions at the Governor's Finance Office. Would also appropriate $500,000 for a comprehensive state employee classification and compensation study. That is in section 1.7 of the bill. There are no amendments being considered by the committee. If the committee wishes to move this bill, appropriate action would be do pass.
To pass from Senator Nguyen, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I'll give the floor statement to Senator Harris.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. The next bill is Assembly Bill 452. It was presented yesterday by Assemblywoman Newby. It revises provisions relating to offenders, establishing the Office of the Ombudsperson for Offenders within the Department of Corrections. There was an unsolicited fiscal note submitted on May 26, indicating a cost of $175,000 in fiscal year 2024 and $350,000 in fiscal year 25 that would need to be addressed. If the committee wishes to take action on this bill, the appropriate motion would be to amend and do pass to add the funding as reflected in the unsolicited fiscal note.
Thank you very much. And with that, I'll accept, amend, and do pass from Senator Nguyen, second from Senator Lang. Senator Gansert.
Thank you. I'm going to reserve my right. Thanks.
Thank you very much. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay from Senator Titus. And with that, motion passes, and I'll take the floor statement.
Next is Assembly Bill 454. This bill was heard in this committee yesterday and was presented by Marcy Riva, Executive Director of the Department of Indigent Defense Services. The bill revises provisions relating to legal services for indigent defendants. There's no general fund appropriations on the bill. There is a fiscal note from the Department of Indigent Defense Services indicating that the fiscal impact cannot be determined. If the committee wishes to move this bill, appropriate action would be to do pass.
Thank you very much, Senator Nguyen. Second from Senator Lang. Any discussion on this? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion passes. I'll give the floor statement to Senator Gokachia.
Kathy Crockett, Fiscal Analysis Division. The next bill is Assembly Bill 498. It was heard yesterday, presented by fiscal staff. It revises provisions relating to the Public Employees Retirement System and contains general fund appropriations of approximately $105 million in fiscal year 2024 and $85 million in fiscal year 2025, and highway fund appropriations of approximately $19 million in fiscal year 2024 and $20 million in fiscal year 2025. Staff would note there is a provision in the pay bill providing for an additional 7% cost of living increase for state employees. That is only effective if this bill is not approved, so it's really a net zero cost when taking that into consideration. There were no amendments discussed on the bill. The motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much. Do pass from Senator Nguyen, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay from Senator Titus. All right, and Senator Gansert. All right, motion passes. And with that, I will give the floor statement to Senator Neal.
Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal Analysis Division. Next is Assembly Bill 515, which was heard yesterday in this committee. It was presented by Craig Satuki, the interim deputy superintendent at the Nevada Department of Education. The bill provides for the award of tuition assistance and stipends under the Incentivizing Pathways to Teaching Grant Program. This is a budget implementation bill. The general fund appropriations associated with the program were already approved by the money committees and included in the budget. There were no amendments. If the committee wishes to move this bill, appropriate action would be do pass.
Thank you very much. I'll accept the motion from Senator Wynn, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All right, with that, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. I'll take the floor statement and we'll move on.
Assembly Bill 516 was presented yesterday by Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno. This would create the Department of Native American Affairs in the Executive Department of State Government. This is a budget implementation bill that aligns with the closing decisions of the money committees. There were no amendments discussed. The appropriate motion would be to do pass.
Thank you very much. So moved from Senator Titus, second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I will hand that floor statement to Senator Lang. It's 516. The Indian Commission.
God, I got it.
Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal Analysis Division. The last bill on work session for this portion of the Finance Committee meeting is Assembly Bill 523, also heard in this committee yesterday and presented by Adam Drost with the LCB Fiscal Analysis Division. The bill revises provisions relating to education. This is a budget implementation bill. It carries out the closing decisions of the money committees and closing the K-12 education budgets. There is no fiscal impact directly associated with this bill because all the funding, all the money associated with the bill is included in the K-12 education funding bill. There are no amendments. If the committee wishes to move this bill, appropriate action would be do pass.
Thank you very much from Senator Wynn, a second from Senator Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, and I will take the floor statement. All right, here's what's going to happen. We have finished the work session. We have been sitting here since like almost 9:30 or 10. I don't even know what. We are going to take a recess. We are going to be back at exactly, I hope, 1:25. Can we do that? 1:25. Sorry that it's kind of an odd time, but it's 5 minutes to 1. So with that, we are in recess. All right, all. This may make some of you happy, and it may make some of you unhappy. Thank you for being prompt. Thank for us to not be prompt because we are going to the floor. So, sorry. And we will reconvene when we're off the floor. So, we're in recess.